Hello everyone. In this new tutorial we will be sculpting this hippo character. If you are completely new to sculpting, then you can check my other tutorials as well. So let's start with this one. We will first create a blockout shape of the character. Select the cube and add a 3-level subdivision with Ctrl 3 and apply the modifier. Right click and smooth shade the object. This will become the head part. Press Shift D to duplicate the object. Make it slightly bigger. This will become the body. Duplicate the head object again and move the new part towards the front side to build the mouth shape. Position it slightly lower. Duplicate it again and move the new part lower. Let's add the ears. Duplicate the head object and move the new part towards the top side and make it smaller. Add a mirror modifier and select the head as mirror reference to generate the other side ear. For the arms and legs, I will add a cylinder object. Make it smaller and position it in the lower section. Add a mirror modifier to create the other side. Duplicate it for the back legs. Make any small adjustments in the size and position of the objects as needed. You don't really have to follow my exact shape and it can be slightly different. Next, I will select all the objects. Press M to create a collection and place them inside it. I will rename this collection to Blockout. The reason for this is we can reuse it later for some other design. Right click to duplicate the collection and hide the original one. Now we will start joining all the objects into one. Select the mouth parts and the head, Ctrl J to join them. Do the same with the body part as well. If you have any mirror modifier added on an object, then apply the modifier first and join the object. In the end, we should have one object. It may happen that the pivot point of the object may not be in the center after joining. You can right click and set origin to geometry. Right click and select Shade Smooth so all parts share the same shading. Next, press Ctrl A for the transform menu and select Scale and Rotation. This setting resets any object size rotation values which might affect our sculpting brush results. Now you can either click the Sculpting tab or switch to the Sculpt mode with Control tab. A few settings I would like to set before we start. To view wireframe of your model, you can enable it through the overlay menu. Better to assign a shortcut to it. You can change the material in the viewport by using another matte cap. It is useful for viewing sculpting results. Next, I will turn off fast navigate setting so the model does not switches to low resolution during viewport movements. In the remesh, I will enable fix pole setting. It seems to give better results during remesh operation. Last of all, make sure to enable mirror setting so your sculpting is updated on both sides. Now using the grab move brush, I will start building the shape of the head and body. Use a lower strength value and bigger brush size. Right click anytime to change the strength of the brush, press F to change brush size. I am simply moving the shape outwards so it feels more round. During sculpting, always rotate your view so you can check the model from different angles. Once we have the basic sculpt ready, press R for the remesh grid. If you use a bigger grid size, then your result will be low resolution. You can see we have lost the overall shape, so I will undo that. In our case, we need a more denser, smaller grid size. Press R again and make the grid size small. Don't go too small. Now press Ctrl R for the remesh operation. All parts of the model will join and blend with each other. The model may look a bit blocky, so shift click over the model to make it smoother. Next, I will start sculpting the shape more. It is important to note here, keep looking at the reference images alongside so you can easily see where to make changes as needed. Use the grab move brush with a big size. Smooth the top body part also where the neck joins the body. On the front side, move the mouth shape down and make it more rounder. Smooth the lower part of the mouth so it blends with the head more. Sometimes in sculpting, your model may not look correct at first, so you will have to go back and forth to make adjustments. For the back legs, I will push them a little back more. Push the points out to build the shape. Don't worry too much about precise details at this time. As you can see, if we rotate the view, the shape of some parts is going downwards, so we will move them back up. I will slightly speed up the video as most of the things are simply moving points and making adjustments. You can remesh the sculpt as needed whenever you are making big or small changes, so the mesh resolution remains even and there is less distortion. For making space for the eye sockets, I will use the inflate brush. Use a high strength value. Press Ctrl and click over to make the faces go inside. Use the move brush to further refine the shape. Exit the sculpt mode. To add eyes, Shift A and add a UV sphere. Rotate the object 90 degrees with RX 90. This will be useful when we apply the materials later for the eye. Add a mirror modifier and use the sculpt as mirror reference. Let's continue refining the shape. For the folds in the neck, there are different ways to create them. I will use the inflate brush and draw over the neck to build the folds. Shift click to smooth alongside to reduce the hardness and blend them more with the body. You can enable stabilize stroke setting in the brush menu if you need to have more control when sculpting. Draw some folds over the back body as well and smooth them out. Next, I will build the shape of the ears. The process is same. Use the inflate brush to shape the inside area. On the back side, use the brush again and smooth out the shape. Remesh the object again so the mesh resolution is evenly recreated and continue sculpting. Make sure to rotate the view and check the model from all sides so the shape of the object looks correct and round. For the mouth, I will now use the Draw Sharp brush to carve out more detail in it. Use the Stabilize Stroke setting. I will remesh and shift smooth. You can use the same Draw Sharp brush for adding more detail in the neck folds. One thing to keep in mind is that whenever you remesh, some small details might be lost, so you will need to redo some sculpting, so that is why it is better to keep small details for the end. I will sculpt some detail around the eyes with the Draw Sharp brush. It is also possible sometimes that the object shape needs bigger changes. Like here, I feel the head seems too long and going outward. So to improve it more, I'm using the Grab Move brush with a large size, and I will push the front side towards the back. In the object mode, select the eyeballs and move them back to fit. You can see most of the sculpting involves moving different areas, repeating the same brush actions, and tweaking the overall shape. So remember to take your time and not to rush. Smooth any bumps or uneven surfaces if they are visible. The folds area we are refining again. As we make bigger changes, some details need to be recreated. For the nose nostrils, use the inflate brush to sculpt them in. Use the move brush for making the shape. I will be remeshing the object one more time, but this time I will use a slightly more dense grid size so we can sculpt clean details. Around the eyes, I'm using the pinch brush for making the edges of the eyes slightly more tight. Same goes for the ears. In the mouth area, use the Draw Sharp brush and the pinch brush for additional sculpting. Use the inflate brush to fill the lower area. Let's sculpt in a tail. Although you can add a separate object for it, but we will simply use a small size move brush and move the points outside. After that, use the snake hook brush to extend the shape. Inflate the shape a little to give it some thickness. If we check the wireframe, it may look distorted and not smooth. So remesh here to make the tail area with even topology. And from here you can continue refining the shape. One more thing I would like to show here is create open mouth sculpt pose. For instance, like this reference. Before anything, first make a duplicate copy of your object. Save your file as well. We will push the mouth part up and drag the lower part to build the lower lip area. Smooth the inner mouth area, push the points further inside. Inflate the outer area, remesh and sculpt. You can see there are different ways to sculpt and you can use any method. And this completes most of the sculpting part. Last of all, we will use vertex painting to paint our sculpted model. I have a separate tutorial on this topic as well if you like to check. Let's quickly go through the process here. If your sculpted model is high resolution, then painting color results will be more smooth. First, assign a material and then go in the data properties of the object. Here in color attributes panel, click the plus button to add a node. Use any default color. Switch to the shading tab and in the material editor, add a color attribute node. Make sure to select the name in the property and join it with the main shader. Back in the viewport, switch to material preview. Press Ctrl tab to select vertex painting. You can start painting directly on the model. To change the colors, you can use the side panel and set a color palette and add colors in it. Ctrl X to fill the entire object with one color. Add another color to paint over. Please keep in mind we are painting all colors in one layer, so plan ahead how you will be painting. You can change the strength, brush size as well. There are a few more brushes like blur, smear, average to blend colors. Now for the eyes, I have added two materials with low roughness, one white and other black. For the inner faces of the object, I assigned a black color and white color for the rest of the eye. And this is basically the overall setup. From here you can continue making changes, improving the sculpting and colors of this character. And this completes the tutorial. I hope you find this video useful in some way. I have added the final sculpted file. You can download it. If you like to see more in the future, please consider subscribing, giving this video a like and turn on notification bell. Thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next one.